This Saturday on Forever Young, we're joined by the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services with special guests Dr. Hyacinth Blake, Director of the Division of Aging, and Ms. Kathleen Sankar, Assistant Director of the National Family Services Division. Dr. Blake will focus on the main activities for UNIDOP, and Ms. Sankar will focus on older persons as parents and the ministry's Grandparenting program. The Ministry of Social Development and Family Services on Forever Young this Saturday from 8 a.m. Sponsored by Extra Foods, Plenty for 20 specials till October 4th.
We are family.
We're back with it, and we welcome our guests this morning. We welcome Dr. Hyacinth Blake, Director of the Division of Aging, and Miss Kathleen Sankar. Did I pronounce it correctly?
We want to thank our sponsors for this segment, which will be Extra Foods. Extra Foods Limited has sponsored this segment. We're talking about the United Nations International Day of Older Persons and the celebration that occurred yesterday. But we're not too late, because we want to recognize that our aging population is important to Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome, ladies. Dr. Blake, tell me about the whole concept of the ministry's celebration and recognition
of elderly persons and persons who are aging.
Great. So thank you for having me on the program. Hello to the Forever Young and the other listeners from Trinidad and Tobago and overseas. And thank you, Uncle Brother, for that wonderful introduction. Yes. And so you find that on October 1st, based on the United Nations decision, 31 years ago in December, but we started celebrating United Nations International Day of Older Persons 30 years back, right? So it's the 30th anniversary, and on October 1st, we commemorate and recognize and honor our elders because we know that they have much value. And one of the things that we're going to do this year is have our hashtag Halo competition, hashtag Smile, that's honor, appreciate, and love our older persons. We had it last year, and so we're encouraging persons to participate in it this year. And I'll tell you more as we go along in the program.
But I have to make a remark. I'm looking at you two ladies, but you're not forever young'uns.
Aging is a lifelong process. We age all as soon as we are born, we age. And this is why, we use our life force perspective locally and internationally to treat with aging. And also, we want intergenerational solidarity. So, shout out to the tweets, shout out to Kingdom Kids. Yeah? So that's why we are here.
I hear you. And you're in the right place. You're in the right place. Ms. Sankar, tell me about your involvement. You youngster, you.
Like my colleague and Trinidad and Tobago and all other listeners, our contribution to, actually, we are hosting in October of this year the first ever grandparenting workshops. Now, you may think that that we haven't been doing anything specific to grandparents, but actually every year, as part of our normal activities, we host what we call our parenting program, and we do include the grandparents. However, this year, the Honorable Minister, Dr. Cox, Senator Dr. Cox, she has, as part of her presentation in the cabinet last year, would have said that she is going to be hosting the grandparenting program. So it has fallen to us at National Family Services to incorporate and include the grandparenting program, which we will be hosting in later October, 27th of October to be exact. And this is all part of the ministry's thrust to include grandparents in our everyday activities.
I want to deepen that discussion. Let's unpack a little bit more. Because grandparents used to play a specific and pivotal role in the development of children in our society. But then people went to work. And so a lot of grandparents are now employed. How are we dealing with that change?
Well, that is the whole reason behind the grandparenting program, because we've recognized the change, and we recognize the dynamics that are now related to grandparents. We found it necessary, and we found it that we must address those concerns. So hence the reason why this program is so important, and why we are really hosting it for the first time this year. Because the changing role of the grandparent, the changing dynamic of grandparents, especially in this time, the COVID time, all these things have changed. I mean, we all grew up with grandparents. I know I grew up with my grandmother in our household. She was everything very, very, very instrumental in my development as well. So I'm very, very, this program is very close to my heart, and I'm looking forward to really launching it and having it out there and continue it as we go along.
You find that, Uncle Brother, in terms of the question about the current role of grandparents. So what we find is a hybridization. We have those who are working and out there, and there are those who continue in the traditional role of caring for the grandchildren. And this is especially with our children going to online school at home. We have found that grandparents are picking up the slack, as they have done for eons. I too can relate to my grandmother taking care of me while, after school, teaching me how to crochet. My great aunt, I'm still not good at knitting. I'm learning how to cook. I have my grandmommy Polly, who's still with me. Mommy Polly, may Ramprasad, hola. And so she still teaches us so many important life values. So having said that, this is why the ministry is going towards this digital approach to our elders and encouraging them to use the technology. And the theme for this year's UNIDOP is digital equity for all ages. Right, Uncle Brother? So, so we want the grandparents to know how to use the tech to help their grandchildren, and vice versa for the grandchildren and other age groups to assist the grandparents to get online.
And I wanted to go in that direction because COVID has caused education to come home. And when it has arrived in the living room, the people who occupy the house need to be okra with the technology. And I'm glad to hear that the ministry is supporting that by educating people and equipping them. Could we talk a little bit more about that?
Well, I'll pass to Ms. Sankar, because I know that the grandparent program has two specific elements now to teach our grandparents about tech. Yeah.
Yes, so we're going to be hosting, as part of the seminars, a training module that teaches grandparents how to use the different devices. So how to use your cell phone, how to use your computer, your tablet. It's going to be a very hands-on process. So we're going to be introducing our grandparents who may not be aware of how to use the. I know if my father was alive, he would have always been afraid that it's going to blow up if he presses something wrong. So we have to try and dispel that fear that nothing is going to go wrong. They're very simple devices, and they're very easy to use. So the actual physical use of the devices is one aspect of it. And secondly, how do we interact with our grandchildren? Well, I'm saying our, but I don't have any. But how do we interact with the grandchildren in online schooling? What do we need to know? How do we need to support them? That the whole process behind the online schooling and how we factor into it as grandparents or as parents. So those are the two main elements that we're looking at. Dr. Blake?
Yes, and I want to say that I've noticed that there is an uptake based on the data internationally of older persons, our seniors, our elders, in terms of their interest in using technology. So I was listening to Forever Young, as I do ever so often, and who's sending in their WhatsApp message, who might say, no, I didn't get you on the phone, so they send a voice note. So to the crew out there, I just want to say happy birthday to those who said, their October greetings, and my condolences to those who might have lost loved ones. And this is a great way to have social support, especially in these times. And, we were talking about Hurricane Flora and how it impacted us. And we need those stories. This is a pandemic, and we're happy that we have our elders who survived all these very difficult experiences, and we can survive too. And that's why we need the technology to get the message out there.
Dr. Blake.
That is important. That is very important, because I always say my 97-year-old aunt who lives in England, that's how she communicates with her family in Trinidad. And actually, if you're 97 years old and can figure it out, what's keeping the rest of us from doing it?
Well,
yes.
You all are two good stormers, eh? I am not going to put you in the category of forever youngers. You all are stormers. But we're talking about the technology. We're also talking about carrying on the legacy, talking about the stories, talking about the history. I have a beef that some of the history that we've learned had been stories told by other people. And we've neglected our indigenous history. Let's talk about that a little bit. What moves are being made so that we have that smooth transition of information to our younger ones?
Yes, so this is why we have this hashtag Halo competition, where we're encouraging our national population to create a 1-minute video to show how they honor, appreciate, and love an older person by teaching them how to use the technology or engaging them, because they themselves might be more adept than some of us. And that way, because yes, we have the formal programs that the government through, for instance, National Family Services Division and the Grandparent Program are doing to help with that whole digital literacy, but we need all of society to assist. So the hashtag Halo component is encouraging that, because when we look at the way that elders are more likely to learn, it must be about something that's practical. They don't have time for their, the little flatness. They want something that they could use. And yes, they know how to have their fun and so on, but tell me how it's useful. We want to be practical. And more so, they need to, most of them learn better when it's in the context of family and persons who they know personally and they can relate to the teacher, so to speak. And that is why hashtag Halo is so important. So create your 1-minute video using the various social media platforms, be it TikTok, be it Facebook, be it YouTube, or using your smartphone and or your tablet, and send it to the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services via our various platforms. So that's Ministry of Social Development and Family Services on Facebook by the name of the ministry, via www.social.gov.tt, and our Twitter page at hashtag MSDFSTT. So those are some of the places you can submit or call us if you're not comfortable sending it that way at 800-OPIC. That's the Older Persons Information Center that's managed by the Division of Aging. That's 800-6742 for more details. Or you can email us at opic@social.gov.tt.
I'm going to ask you to repeat that sometime later on. But who can send these videos in? Who? What age group?
Great. Yes. Any age. So this is for all ages. That's the hashtag Halo. So persons, the younger generation, the older ones, and I should say though, we made a distinction. So we have a subset of Halo called hashtag Smile. And that is for children 12 and under, where they do a selfie showing how they honor, appreciate, and love the older person. And it must be that they are showing the use of technology and wearing white or gray. I must say that's an important rule, because that's our signature color, as Ms. Sankar is showing, to celebrate our elders, right? And so hashtag Smile is the yes. Uncle Brother is in the mix. He's not a stormer. You see that? So that's our hashtag Smile, the selfie component. and it's also targeting the 60 years and over specifically. Now back to hashtag Halo and the video component, that's primarily for 13 years and over. The reason being is that we don't necessarily want our children on platforms like TikTok and Facebook because they're underage, yes? We want that our competition also highlights cyber safety. So those are some of the issues that underpin the competition for this year.
Mm-hmm. So the younger ones, wearing white or gray, can do a selfie.
Everybody. Everybody.
Right. And they do the selfie and send it in. What are the prizes?
Yeah. Oh, so great question. We have two main sponsors. That will be NAMDEVCO and NP. And we're also supposed to have some new sponsors coming on board, so we're keeping that a little quiet until further notice. But prizes basically are hampers, food hampers. We also have gift hampers. We have NP in terms of their products. And we're hoping to have some digital devices. But we'll say more on that later on, and we'll publish that on our pages.
Can I enter one of those competitions?
Once you are not employed at the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, of course you can enter. So we encourage you to. And of course, I want to say that, our elders who are very tech savvy, like Uncle Brother, yes, because he's in media and he's doing his thing, that you can also teach your peers and the older members of that particular cohort how to use technology. So we recognize that it's not like one size fits all, that it's a heterogeneous group, but everybody must come together and support each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, going over to Ms. Sankar, I need to know about parents and their involvement with the youth in the family. There is the need for ongoing training and ongoing support to this category of person to help to build the family. What are some of the things your department is doing in that regard?
Okay. Well, we have, as I said, I mentioned earlier, we do have our parenting program. It used to be a once a year event. What we've realized, as you're rightfully saying, that parents need support. We are going to be running it again. We're going to have another session next year in March. And in addition to which, we're also going to be hosting a series of webinars and sensitization sessions, along with our what we call our Family Fridays, where we give tips on our Facebook page, Ministry's Facebook page, where we give tips on effective parenting, co-parenting, anything that is related to the family. So it is not going to be as in the past where we only had workshops once a year. We're going to be running hopefully every month. We're going to be having something, be it a sensitization session. We're going to have workshops running as well for the parents and the children, because we recognize that it's one thing to deal with the parents. We also have to support our children through the process that is family life. So these are some of the major things that we're going to be working on. We're going to be working with Dr. Blake as well, all our other partners, the NGO community. We're going to be working with our other partners in the ministry to make sure that this aspect of it is fully covered. And we welcome persons to give us ideas on how else and what else we can do to support, because we recognize that family, as they always say, family is the bedrock, family is the foundation, and if we don't get that right, our society is not going to be where we want it to be.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you went there, because no.
Sorry.
There is dysfunction in the family.
You just said family is the bedrock. But let's face it, there's a lot of dysfunction in the family brought out by people who have been focused on other responsibilities, working, pursuing careers, and all that. How are we going to deal with addressing that dysfunction?
Well, National Family Services provide psychosocial support for persons who need assistance. We provide counseling. We try our best to support the family framework through interactions, through discussions, through our as I said, our outreach programs. Sadly, we have not been able to, because, and we always beating this up, but because of COVID, we have not been able to go into the communities like we would have done previously and host our programs in the communities. So instead of just throwing up our hands and saying we're not going to do anything or we can't do anything, we have embarked on our online platform. We're doing sensitization sessions online, and using social media as a way of reaching our publics. I think that's.
And I want to say too that the Division of Aging leans heavily on National Family Services Division, because in addition to having an inspectorate unit which addresses issues of elder abuse within householder persons, we get a lot of calls through our hotline about abuse or neglect in the context of private residences. And so this is where Family Services supports our efforts with regards to providing the counseling, the assessment, a way forward to resolving the issues within the home towards our elders. And we know that, the dysfunction sometimes is because of socializations, caregiver stress, because there's so much happening to persons. We don't support elder abuse in any form, be it verbal, physical, sexual. We don't. But at the same time, we note that sometimes there are those relatively soft, and I'm being careful when I say that here, cases where it is a matter of counseling. Sometimes it's reactive abuse. Unfortunately, we have situations where, and I know this is not all our elders who are listening, but a minority who may have their lifestyle for whatever reason, maybe the hardships they faced or so on, they were not necessarily kind to their relatives in their younger years. And as a result, it makes it very problematic when they are older to get the kind of support that they need from relatives. And so counseling and intervention can deal with some of the trauma, the hurt, and bring to the fore the need for forgiveness and healing within the family. And I want to thank National Family Services Division, because they have been very instrumental in bringing about reconciliation in that kind of situation.
Can we give a contact number or a way of getting in touch with the family services so that those processes can be accessed?
Sure. Our numbers are 623-2608, 670 extension 6701 to 6710. We have 8 offices throughout Trinidad, and anyone can contact us anytime, and we will support. We also have the hotline. Dr. Blake, could you help me with the hotline?
Sure. So we can also be contacted via the 800 OPIC, that's Older Persons Information Center, where we then redivert the calls as needed if it's not a matter directly for the Division of Aging, but for our partners like Family Services or Ministry of Health or Social Welfare. We can then refer the matter. So that's 800-6742. And also you can call 800-C019, CO as in COVID-19. So 800-CO19.
Thank you.
And I would like to, if I may, I'd like to share that in terms of how we are addressing, we also have what we call Let's Talk, Family Time Let's Talk. I think a couple of our officers were on earlier this year on your radio station, where we use this opportunity to address issues, family value issues, and the role of the family. We also address issues in terms of work-life balance. We address issues of domestic violence, single parenting and co-parenting, child abuse, money management for financial literacy. So we within that program, it's Family Time Let's Talk, we also deal with family-related issues. So it starts on Mother's Day and ends on Father's Day, and even again as we see the challenges that we're facing, we're going to be extending that beyond just the one-off, having again sensitization sessions and our Family Fridays. So it's no longer going to be just a one-off situation. We're going to be doing it consistently throughout the year because we recognize the challenges that are being faced not only by the grandparents but by parents and also by the children and the caregivers. Anyone who has to who is part of a family, aunts, uncles, we have to support them, and that's what National Family Services is doing.
I'm glad. I'm so glad. I want to take a little break and we recognize our sponsors for this segment this morning. Extra Foods.
It's Extra Foods, plenty for 20 budget bargains. Top shelf ramen, 9 for $20. Carrots, 1 pound pack, 6 for $20. Joe Sing noodles, 6 for $20. Golden Brand margarine, 3 for $20. Chef made vinegar, 5 for $20. So Dancer potato chips, 7 for $20. O Snacks double nut granola bars, 5 for $20. And Gala apples, 10 for $20. So many great plenty for 20 specials. And sale runs from October 24th to October 4th. Extra Foods, always extra for less.
Now we're back with you in studio. We're speaking with Dr. Hyacinth Blake and Ms. Kathleen Sankar of the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. I'm happy to hear that it's not just a one-off exercise that with this education program that we're using. Because I think we need reinforcement as we go along, particularly as it pertains to how we treat with each of Dr. Blake.
Yes, and so we need continuous learning. So, for example, I did not mention earlier, but we do have YouTube videos that will be going up on the ministry's YouTube channel in the name of the ministry again, Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, throughout the months of October, November, December. And of course, other material will come up as we go along throughout the year. And one of the videos that we will be showcasing is on financial literacy with an emphasis on e-safety, e-commerce safety. We want our elders, as part of the digital equity movement, to do more online banking, but we are not being naive to the fact that there are cases of financial abuse, not just for our older members of the population, but for all ages, and we need to be aware. So we want them to be sensitive. At the same time, we don't want them lining up in the context of the pandemic to go to the bank and to do their shopping. We want them to have that versatility and that freedom to shop online, do their transactions online, purchase services online. And we trust that it will be of benefit to them to watch those videos.
I'm glad you mentioned that because yesterday I drove down the Eastern Main Road and I looked at every single bank and there were lines.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit disconcerting to look at that occurrence. Now, when we talk about education, financial literacy education, can we talk to people about the timing that we go to the bank? Or can we talk to our manufacturers or the people who pay about the timing that they pay so that we don't have everybody going into the institution at one time?
Yes, and so I know that the Minister, the Honorable Senator Donna Cox, would have let out a very strong cry around the months of June, July, on the eve of our World Elder Abuse Awareness Day that's celebrated June 15th every year, given issues of check fraud that is occurring in the supermarkets and so on, and calling out to bank associations and so on to have special accommodations for our elders. We know some of them are already doing it, and even in the supermarkets, they're opening earlier to allow for those transactions. Mm-hmm. But we want to encourage our elders, please stagger your time. Don't go at the same time. Go with someone if you must do it in person. At the same time, we want you to limit going in person as best you can. But be mindful as to your surroundings. And yes, have someone that you is a safe person that you've already tried and tested over the years who can go with you when you're doing those transactions, not a random person who just came into your life all of a sudden. And I also want to refer the listeners to our webinar series that the Division of Aging held in July, where we touched on some of those issues, and in particular, a presentation by the manager of the Victim and Witness Support Unit in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Ministry of National Security, where she presented very specific guidance as to how to maintain your safety as you do your various shopping and search for services in person. But don't forget to be digital and shift to that approach to doing your transactions.
I suspect we may need to invite that person over to reiterate some of the things that she said, because that's important.
Yes.
Very, very important.
Yes. So Mrs. Aisha Corby, she is the manager, and I'm sure she'll be more than happy to facilitate.
Absolutely. I want to open the lines for our listeners to respond to some of the discussion they've been hearing. You can WhatsApp us, and Chris is going to give you the WhatsApp number and the numbers that you can call.
And the numbers to call are 628-1981, 628-1981, or you can send your message via WhatsApp at 868-275-1981. So once again, you can call us on 622-1981 or 628-1981, or you can message us via WhatsApp on 868-275-1981.
Thank you, woman. I'm sorry. I good to use. We'll be talking to two lovely ladies here this morning, Dr. Hyacinth Blake and Ms. Kathleen Sankar of the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. I want you to talk again about that competition that you have, because we are energized by competition in this country. We like to win things. So, talk to me.
We not get a prize. So the competition and love older person. So that is for persons. That segment is for persons 13 years and over. Create a 1-minute video using your smart device. You might use a platform like TikTok or Facebook or WhatsApp, and send your video which just depicts you wearing white or gray and teaching an older person how to use digital technology, be it creating a Facebook page, setting up a website, using their technology to do video voice calls. You have a lot of options. You can be very creative, but basically teaching about digital use and the use of technology safely. So remember to follow the COVID-19 guidelines when you're doing the various activities. So that's hashtag HALO, honor, appreciate, and love older persons. And then there's hashtag SMILE, which is a subset that is specific to the 12 and unders and the 60 years and over. And they do a selfie whereby they showcase how they also teach digital technology or the use and importance of technology through that selfie, and submit it to the various platforms of the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, either on our Facebook page, which is in the name of the ministry, either via Twitter, that's hashtag MSDFSTT, or email opic@social.gov.tt. Additionally, you can email cceu@social.gov.tt. And if it's too much, all that I'm saying, call the hotline at 800-OPIC, that's 800-6742, and we can give you more guidance.
I think we have a caller on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. You know, I'm 60 and I would love to know how to WhatsApp and so on, you know, to send a voice message. Hello?
Good evening, good morning, sorry.
Hi.
Could you repeat that?
I say I'm 60, but I would love to learn how to send a voice message and do stuff. I don't know nothing about that. I mean, these students and I mean, take almost everything right now. I would love to learn.
Thank you so much for your contribution. He was saying there that he is 60 years old and he would love to learn more about social media, how to send WhatsApp messages and different things like that.
I was hearing that he's 60 years old and he would love to learn how to send a voice message and maybe even a video message. I'm just adding in that bit. And so I would encourage you that you can call our older persons information center and we can walk you through that process, but also take advantage of the grandparent training program. If you are a grandparent, you can call the 800-C019 number, and I'll let Ms. Sankar say the other numbers again, of course, with permission from uncle brother. If you are changing the title of a sudden, yes. So she will give the numbers again, and you can call and get some more information on that particular initiative.
So you can contact us at 623-2608, extension 6701 to 6710. And we will be able to add you to our registration list.
Very good. Very good.
We also will, if I may, we will also have online registration as well. So persons can go onto the ministry's website and register there as well.
But do you get classes? Do you give classes to people?
It not in the form of a formal class, but through our counseling sessions, the social workers are able to engage and to support persons who come to us.
Yes, and we also want to let persons be sensitive to what's happening in our Ministry of Public Administration and Digital Transformation. So I'm sure that there will be very important programs coming out of that ministry that specializes in digital technology and the government's digitization program. So stay tuned for what they are doing, and also reach out to the Ministry of Education for whatever initiatives, and Ministry of Community Development, because this is an all of government approach. And as you listen even to the budget presentation, I know that 98.1 FM stays on top of things when it comes to the budget debate. And so as you listen, you'll be hearing about the initiatives that are coming forward when it comes to this. So you have us and you have the rest of the state engine to approach for that kind of support.
We have another call on the line.
Hello, good morning, welcome.
Hello?
Yes, good morning, welcome.
Hello?
Good morning.
I didn't get that number. Could I get it, please? I didn't get that number right now.
We
want you to repeat the number.
Sure. 623-2608, extension 6701 to extension 6710.
Thank you.
Or you can call 800 OPIC, that's 800-6742.
I'm sure Chris will take that number.
You're welcome. Now we have another question via our WhatsApp message board, and I'm going to get to that in a second. So the question is this. It's concerning the closure of the senior activity centers.
Yes, so that the division of aging, is that the whole question or just part of it?
I was paraphrasing a bit. They were speaking about that seniors feel safe in that environment, and they also are able to bond within that environment. So there was a question of care. If there's such a care for the seniors, why close the senior activity centers?
Right. So the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services did not close the senior activity centers. What you find is, of the senior activity centers that existed, we would have been providing a subvention to 5 senior activity centers. Now, because of the COVID measures, when there was a lockdown in March, per the Ministry of Health COVID-19 regulations, senior activity centers were closed, but several of them would have gone online and continued their activities. Unfortunately, based on the directive from various spheres of the government, we have been unable to continue with the funding of the 5 senior activity centers from a particular time. That would have been for this fiscal year that passed. At the same time, we are providing other forms of support via the NGO unit of the ministry, whereby programs like one-off programs and so on that they need to undertake can be supported, and we provide technical support. So the real difference has to do with the subventions, but we do continue to provide support, and the senior activity centers can continue to function in the context of the COVID-19 regulations and post-COVID. So we just want you to be clear that it's not that the ministry shut down the senior activity centers. But we do have financial constraints, and we're working around it and still treating with our seniors as best we can.
And I think based on the way the world is going, the virtual environment is available. And it will be good for us to become okra with how to navigate in that environment so that we can access the services for senior citizens. Yes?
Yes. And of course, the hashtag Halo competition is a segue to that. So if we encourage persons to use the technology, it means that it supports the initiatives of even the currently running senior activity centers that are required to function digitally, so that their clients, their members who need to access the service can do so.
I'm shifting our conversation. We have another caller.
Yes. We actually have a message via WhatsApp, Someone said, I did not hear of any office in Tobago. So that is from a Tobago listener. So
all right, so let me just touch on that one and pass to Ms. Sankar. So there is an aging unit in the Tobago House of Assembly under the Department with responsibility for health and social services. So the Division of Aging from time to time partners with that particular unit, and I know Family Services also reaches out accordingly. So I guess at some juncture we can have like a joint discussion with the representatives from the PHA to touch on those matters. But Tobago, you are not forgotten.
Not at all. It's actually in preparing for our grandparenting workshop, we would have included the persons from Tobago as part of our focus groups and our information gathering process. So Tobago has not been left out, and we will never ever think of doing that. So quite often we even get referrals for counseling coming out of Tobago, but what we would do, just do the initial investigation and then pass them back to the wellness centers in Tobago. So we do have that rapport, we do have that interaction. Tobago is not being left out, not by any stroke of the imagination. And it's even better. Yeah, it's even better that we're having these online sessions, because that gives Tobago an opportunity, pieces of Tobago an opportunity to come on board and to be part of our sessions.
Yes, and hashtag Halo is open to Trinbagonians as well from Trinidad and Tobago. So hashtag smile, hashtag Halo, you are part of the mix.
Good. And I want you to, we talked about the workshop earlier on, but I want us to get a little bit more into it. The grandparenting workshop. I might be a client. Grandparenting.
And you're more than welcome, Uncle Brother.
So what it's about? It's really about providing the opportunity for grandparents to express themselves and to learn how to cope in this environment. It is a changing environment. We've all had it's nothing new. Our grandparents have always been parents. They've always been a part of our upbringing. However, as you would have mentioned earlier, our grandparents are a lot younger now, so they are working. The finances are different. The opportunities are not there that would have been there. That support, that family support is not there. So the importance of the grandparenting program, the areas that we're going to be focusing on now, it's now part of our framework. It's part of our parenting program, ably run by Michelle Ann Hart, who's our program development specialist in the parenting unit. The whole outreach, the whole purpose of this is to give grandparents the opportunity to understand the changing environment that they're living in. Some of the areas that we're going to be targeting, and I will just list them here for you so you get an idea of what are some of the topics we're going to be supporting here. Stages of child development from the age of 0 to 18, gender differences in socialization of children, gender stereotyping. So long time the boys ran outside and played, while the girls stayed inside and learned to cook. Those are some of the things that we're looking at. The gender. We have to make sure that our children understand the importance, both men and both young boys and girls, of being part of the whole activity that makes up a family. We're also going to be looking at family and domestic violence, parenting in the age of COVID, which obviously is very demanding and different now. What are the challenges that grandparents face? The dynamics of the generation gap. So you have some grandparents that might be 70, 80, and then you have grandparents that are 45, 50. And dealing with the children, for a 70-year-old or an 80-year-old, dealing with a 6-year-old child is obviously going to be a challenge, because children are different. Children growing up now are different. They are more outspoken. They're gone are the days of seen or not heard. That is just not part of the framework or the fabric anymore. and it is to be encouraged. Because we need, our children need to be able to speak out, they need to be able to express themselves. No longer sitting in the corner and when I call you, you come. That's not going to work now because children are also very much more aware of what is happening. Also financial management. Now you have some grandparents that are now taking care of their grandchildren, but they still have a budget. They have they are pensioners, so their budget is $3,500. How do they now cope with that aspect of it? They now have to use that not only for their medication, their own needs, but also to support grandchildren, which and at the current cost of living, it is a challenge for them.
Yes.
One very, very important thing is the need for support for grandparents. We need to make sure that grandparents are aware of what support is there, what support is out there, and how they can access it. So that is as critical as part of the grandparenting program. Legislation and policy, child care and protection. How does a grandparent, if they have to, go about becoming the legal aspects of becoming the child's caretaker or caregiver? There are obviously legal implications to that. Self-awareness and self-care. Now, we have to take care of ourselves before we can take care of anyone or anybody else. And helping to give grandparents the tools that they need to see about themselves, so that they can see about their charges as they go through. Discipline versus punishment. Obviously, there's a difference between discipline and punishment. So we're going to be addressing those issues as well. Sexuality and teenage pregnancy. This is something that is there. We may not wish to speak about it, but it is something that is very prevalent in our society. And just basically sharing any practical tips in how to cope, what are the coping mechanisms, and how best we can support our grandparents to do the job that they're doing in the circumstances, financial, social situations that we're in right now. So that in a nutshell is what the grandparenting program is going to be about. It is going to be introduced over a 3-year period, and also will continue as part of the framework of our parenting program.
Ladies, every morning we come here, Christopher and I, we have to send greetings to persons who are 100 years or 100 years and over. This morning we had 2 of them. Have you found that our population has come to the place where we have older people living longer now than before?
Yes, most definitely. So we have that. Yeah, so we do have an expanded life expectancy in Trinidad and Tobago, and we welcome this. So we will have more centenarians. We do have more persons. The average life expectancy for our country is between 72 years to 74 years of age, and this is why we really want to celebrate our centenarians. Yes, and this is because there is an improvement over the years of healthcare, vaccinations, better diet and so on. But at the same time, we know that there are elders who live long, but they don't necessarily live healthy. And we need to speak to our centenarians to find out what they did to survive over these years. And we have heard from some of them, and it's very useful. Eat little, live long, forget the junk food, take your walks when we could have been outside. And if you just walk around the property that you're at or within the property. So this is what the Division of Aging promotes: healthy, lifelong aging, and this is what UNIDOP, International Day of Older Persons, is about, focusing on the fact that, yes, persons are living longer, but we want you to live long and healthy. And social lives as well, lives with meaning, and this is where the grandparenting also comes in terms of passing on the important information and knowledge and experiences to the younger generation.
And I think that is also part of what we hope to do, because it's one thing to share information, but there's so much more information out there that they can, that our elderly, our senior citizens can share with us. That is also going to be part of our grandparenting program, getting the stories in, learning different ways to I love when they tell me about the teas and all the different herbs that they use.
Bush tea?
Sorry?
Yes.
Bush tea?
Bush tea, man. That's the best thing. I always, my grandmother would always, you know, she didn't really like the Lipton too much. But she can tell you all about the benefits of the green teas and the herbs and the bush tea, and I think those are some things that we need to cherish. We need to we need to know about when the railway was here. You know what happened. I don't think we have any. You know, things about our history. How did we come here? Why? You know, what are some of the things that we would have experienced as a people? We need to understand us as a people before we can do anything else.
Absolutely.
And if I might add, yes, and if I might add, you know, we need to merge the old tech with the new tech. So we're talking about organic foods. My grandmother would be like, what is that? That's how I eat all the time. That's what I grew up doing. What's this with all these GMOs and so on? And when we're talking about sustainable development and clean energy, you know, thankfully they're still selling those pedal machines. I still can't sew properly, but, you know, if the current goes and I had a pedal machine, one of the manual ones, I would not be at a loss. So there are things that with old tech that we need to also use in addition to the new tech, because the new tech allows us to preserve and also to share about the old ways that are still relevant. So we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and this is why we need that intergenerational connectivity and solidarity, so we keep the good and progress.
It was a challenge to get my grandmother to use the fridge, because as far as she was concerned, she was accustomed to sending somebody down to the market to get her little piece of beef, to get a piece of pork, fresh food, to get the chicken, fresh. She didn't understand this thing about fridge and buying it and freezing it. No, she wanted the milk. She was accustomed to somebody bringing out a bottle of milk. And you know, and she lived to 92. Okay, so obviously she was doing something right, and you know, that whole thing, that whole natural way of living that we have lost to some extent.
We have a call on the line.
We have a call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I heard, I was coming from Alita, and I heard you talking about the grandparents and children and whatnot. But I am 64. I have two grands here. The father not working, the mother not working. Well, they're not together. I was working in a school cafeteria. I was approved for the loan since last year, December, for the COVID-19, right, money and grant. And up to today, not a cent, and I'm not getting no pension. It's only my husband getting pension. Could you have a list on it for me, please, sir?
Sure. Could I?
So what I would say, I would just stop in here, Ms. Sankar, because that's one of the things that the Division of Aging does. There we have a strong customer service role that's specifically targeted to our seniors, so that if it is that, based on this particular case, let me be specific about that, please call us at 800-OPIC, that's 800-6742. An inspector will then take your case, do a case report, and follow up with the relevant department that would have been processing those cases, the application for the grant, to see what the situation is. So you'll have someone within the ministry following up on your specific case. Or you can email through our ticketing system online, that's the OPIC@social.gov.tt. The ticket will be assigned to an inspector who will follow up on your case.
And
but we apologize for any problems that you had with the processing of your grant, and we will look into it.
Chris has a message.
We have quite a few messages, actually. Someone says, how can financial and other kinds of abuse of a 92-year-old be addressed? And this one is a question. Good morning, Uncle Brother. How do you go about joining this group? I'm interested. And that's from Euphemia. And so those are the comments that we have right now.
Yes.
I will address the question of financial abuse of the elder. So you can contact the Division of Aging, and we will liaise with our counterparts in the Ministry of National Security. Now, one of the entities that we liaise with is the Force Squad, depending on the nature of the financial abuse. So first we will do a preliminary assessment of the situation and determine which arm of the government would need to act. But we take these kinds of situations very seriously. So please contact us using the toll-free number. It's toll-free, so don't worry about not having credit on your phone. It's 800-6742, or email us at opic@social.gov.tt, and we will begin the investigation.
We have 1.5 minutes, Chris.
So there's a question. Earlier we mentioned some of the centers. So someone is making a comment here because money apparently has been owed to some of the staff of those centers since 2017, and she's just asking for some kind of direction. How could this be addressed?
Well, I'm not sure that that is actually true, because we would have had meetings with the centers when this issue would have arisen and pointed out that staff would have been paid. If there is a concern that is continuing, they can call the same toll-free numbers and we will adjust it accordingly. So I would just want to say that when it comes to senior activity centers and the continued engagement of our elders, the Division of Aging continues to support these centers. Even if there is no subvention being paid, there are other ways that there is support. And it has always been that civil society and even the members would have provided relevant financial and other interventions to support and continue these activities. So we know it's a bit of a pinch in terms of the subventions not being continued, but at the end of the day, we work on an empowered approach, sustainable approach, and so it's an all of society approach. So all of us have to come together to have these various services continued.
Dr. Blake and Ms. Sankar, we've come to the end of our hour this morning, but I want to give you 30 seconds each for your closing remarks.
Right, so I'm just going to encourage you again, please participate in our hashtag Halo competition that honor, appreciate, and love an older person through teaching them about the technology and encouraging them to use it safely, and hashtag smile. Do your videos and do your selfies and send it to us.
Ms. Sankar.
Thank you so much for having us on today. And I would like to encourage persons to stay tuned, listen out for when we're having our grandparenting program. If you can, visit our Facebook page and for Family Fridays, and just stay tuned because we have a lot of interesting and exciting things that are coming up in the next fiscal year, and we want to make sure, and we hope that you're on board with us too, and you continue to support us in sharing the good work that the ministry is doing. Thank you very much.
Ladies, I thank you for being with us this morning and sharing all of this great information for people like me. For people like me. So I'm going to throw it back to Chris. I'm sure he's going to play our extra food support of this program. This one being very, very good sponsors.
Thank you, Extra Food.
Thank you very much.
It's Extra Foods, plenty for 20 budget bargains. Top Shelf Ramen, 9 for $20. Carrots, 1 pound pack, 6 for $20. Joe Sing Noodles, 6 for $20. Golden Brand Margarine, 3 for $20. Chef Made Vinegar, 5 for $20. So Dancer Potato Chips, 7 for $20. O Snacks Double Nut Canola Bars, 5 for $20. And Gala Apples, 10 for $20. So many great plenty for 20 specials. And sale runs from October 24th to October 4th. Extra Foods, always extra for less.
And we are back with you. And want to say special thanks going out to our representatives from the ministry. And we want to just encourage all those who may have some concerns to feel free to call the numbers that were given earlier on in the interview in the program. This is where we make our way out.
Yeah, we have to go.
We have to go.
I have to tell you, Chris, that my mother taught me to cook, eh?
Daddy actually taught me to cook too, yeah.
Okay, so just putting that on the table there. We're not like Mickey. We were taught to cook.
Mickey can cook? Okay, so it's about that time for us to say our goodbyes, as always.
Good morning to my friends at Zion Flavors.
As always, want to send blessings to my parents, Cuthbert Joseph the Bishop, and his beautiful wife, my mom, Celine. Love you guys so much. Appreciate your support always. And blessings going out to my beautiful wife. Hardworking these days. She actually cooking and thing, but you know, if I want to eat, I have to spend money. What I said, if I want to taste having a little hand these days, I have to spend money. But it's all good. Love you so much, and our beautiful daughter Imara and our handsome son Amani Christoph. Really could not do it without you guys. As always, want to let you know, don't package your dream to fit within your budget. And the broken crayons can still color. The man, DJ Mickey,